All the bulls, come on out. You already know it's your time. Shout out to Raven Betty, Bria Johnson, and Daquan Hobbs. Happy birthday. Today is your day. Celebrate the weekend. And it's Mother's Day weekend, so don't forget about your moms.
Happy birthday.
She birthed you. So give her a little shout out as well. Any birthdays you know you want to shout out?
I just know it's Taurus season, so my man Tremaine birthday's got to be coming up.
Hey, Jermaine, happy birthday to you
birthday.
as well, okay? And a little chitter-chat news, okay? Lala and 50 Cent is about to do another TV production. You know they was already on Power together, but now they about to be on a new TV series called Intercepted. This show is based on a book-selling series by Alexa Martin, best-selling novel, by the way. The book is part of a 3-book series that's about an NFL wife being dedicated and loyal to her husband, and it kind of get twisted. It's about the football player Derek Mason from the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
So shout out to the book and shout out to the production that's getting developed right now as we speak. Shout out to Lala and 50 Cent, Black Actors Matters.
Yeah.
So just shout out to everyone on the team. And other news, I want to get your opinion, because it's been going crazy ever since the red table talk of Aisha Curry talking about she won attention from men. And I think a lot of people took it kind of out of context when she said she was looking for some type of attention. Sometimes I don't think she's looking. I think she's just wanting to say it's nice to get some type of attention from, I guess, other peers or just other people in general, especially having 3 babies, you know what I'm saying, being married faithfully to Steph Curry.
Right.
So I want to kind of get a male perspective, because I took it like no kind of harm, but of course the media, everybody's like, oh, she want attention, she had died, she ain't loyal to stuff, divorce her. It's going ham. I'm like, yo, what Steph is thinking right now? I know he going crazy within itself. Like, yo, the world going crazy. So, what, in a male perspective, how did you see the context?
I mean, I seen it on Instagram. I really didn't do too much, research into it. But, a lot of times when it comes to just different media platforms in general, sometimes people just take things and kind of run with it. So,
yeah.
I mean, from what I understand, I mean, just her being a woman in general, being a wife, being a mother and things like that, it just gets tough, especially when, your husband pretty much gets a lot of spotlight and things like that. So it's just tough when, someone that you're married to gets so much spotlight and then you kind of take the back seat. Not even, not even because you want to, but just because that's just
your lane. The people put you in that category. Like, you're not even Aisha, you're just Steph Curry's wife. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that part. And she trying to do her own business, like being a chef.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so I just think a lot of people just need to calm down real quick and stop trying to make them have a whole divorce trial. Like, they want to break up the whole family, like taking things out of context.
And I'm quite sure, like, just in her general, like, just in who she is, I'm quite sure she has degrees. And she was probably someone bigger than, Steph Curry's wife. But like you said, when you take that back seat, and you're just, everybody's always right about your husband. I mean, it definitely can be a situation where, you don't get any acclamation for anything that you've done. So it could be more of a situation like that too as well. So
and in other news, the Beyonce, first of all, Beyonce Before You Let Go challenge is a whole movement. Like, forget the song, it's a movement. Like, I didn't even know it was going to be that big, but of course, because the homecoming of Coachella, she just shut it down. Shout out to Netflix for deleting the link.
Of course.
You feel me? So I just
they wasn't gonna let that be up too
I just appreciate you, because we couldn't afford Coachella. I'm just telling you that right now. We couldn't afford it. We appreciate you, Netflix. All right.
We gonna get that one
So I saw the flash mob in NYC of these ladies killing it. So shout out to all the females rocking the dance move. Please go ahead and break down the choreography so I can learn the moves myself, because I'm behind. I clearly don't know the Before You Let Go challenge, so I ain't even going to try it before.
Me neither. I ain't gonna lie.
We ain't going to go in that lane. So today it's all about, first of all, those who don't know, May is all about Mental Health Awareness Month. For those, please be woke, okay? We have to spread awareness, because I'm all about social issues. That's what the platform is here for. And today we're going to talk about specifically anxiety versus depression, because honestly they go hand in hand. A lot of people suffer from both disorders. Do you happen personally suffer from anxiety or any kind of depression, or know anyone that's going through this disorder?
Prior to like my last job, one of my last jobs was dealing with people with like mental disability and stuff like that. So with anxiety and depression, that was like a big thing that we had to always deal with in terms of dealing with different clients and different issues. So, I mean, me personally, I'm not one to say that I'm very big on words and what you say out your mouth.
Yes,
in terms of
words
speaking
are power.
certain things over your life. So I'm not going to say that I've never dealt with anxiety or depression, but I definitely will say that as a human being, as a grown man in Baltimore, just dealing with life issues, there's definitely always challenges that you have to overcome, and then being able to elevate yourself to be able to go through different challenges and how to make sure everything is handled, especially being a dad as well. It's just so much that can happen every single day that you got to, realize that,
I didn't even know you was a dad.
Yeah, 3-year-old. Shout out to her.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
daddy duties, all that. That's what's up. Congrats to you. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is an intense, excessive, or persistent worry or fear that we all kind of like just lose our brains and kind of our minds over because we don't know how to handle these behaviors over everyday situations. Like our heart rate start beating fast, we start sweating, start breathing, need the little blowback, like trying to get your asthma pump, get the blowing. Like it's literally but a mental health disorder that a lot of people don't even realize that in fact it interferes with daily activities, and it can have emotional distress and kind of interfere with social interaction with people. Like we don't even know that we are affecting our friends because we going through anxiety, and a lot of our friends don't know how to handle our anxiety. They trying to be helpful, like you need to hug me and talk this out. Like no, nigga, I need you some air. Like you know what I'm saying? So we got to kind of be mindful of how to like deal with one another so we can helping one another in that aspect, because there's so many interactions that can cause the triggers, to go off, and not let alone anxiety is in the central nervous system. So it is like a transmitter as well that I was talking about last week about addiction, but it releases stress hormones on a daily basis. Like think about every hour you just get another stress. That's why people be stressed out all the time.
Of course.
Like because it's just released on constantly. You know what I'm saying? These transmitters, and you just get headaches. How many people suffer migraines?
A lot of people.
Exactly.
I got people that's close to me that always suffer migraines. So
they pop a ibuprofen, and still be hurting. You don't never take away the headache, and they suffer panic attacks. A lot of people go through panic attacks, or even lead to depression. Right,
that's true.
So, what is depression?
It's a big thing. I mean, a lot of people go through depression though, in so many different ways and forms and fashions and stuff, especially with family and other issues and stuff like that as well. So, I mean, for me though, it's like I said, I always try to watch, the things that I speak over my life and stuff like that. But I definitely know it's a big issue. I know a lot of people that go through depression. And it's really, really severe.
Yeah, I think I'm more of the anxiety part than depression, because I feel like I'd be anxious and my mind be so like cluttered sometimes and chaotic, if you will, because I'm trying to do so much things and just like breathe. You know what I mean? Like one thing at a time. I don't think we even realize we be in that train wreck of thoughts because we feel like we have so much on our plate. But depression is also a mental health disorder characterized persistently by depressed moods, like your feelings. You know what I'm saying? You have a loss of interest, activity, causing significant impairment inside like your daily life. You don't want to go work. You don't want to eat. Like you don't even want to live sometimes because it drains those behaviors and physical system into your, like I said, your sleep, your appetite, your energy, your concentration, your even self-esteem. So a lot of people don't even want to like act or like do their daily jobs or do their daily performance in social life because they're depressed. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very hard because that leads to suicides. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people committed suicide, for these kind of disorders. So it's very real and it's very severe, and we have to like realize the types of anxiety and depression so we can be aware and like what's the red flag so we can actually get help. And let me just pause right here on getting help. Black people, especially men, I'm sorry, I'm just going to put you out there. I know you because you're part of the category. Please stop avoiding getting help. Like go to your doctors. Like I know. And I was watching a video about it because men are kind of grow up to avoid pain. They don't recognize or even want to get help for anything wrong with their body. They don't even want to seek help unless their mother or their wife tell them to go seek help. And it's like, yo, we killing ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like, do you go to the doctor? This is me.
Look, I'm listen, look, this is real though. Like, I had I'm not really big on doctors, right? But in my life though, like I have a grandfather that passed away.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened was he actually went and got eye surgery. Like, he got some type of eye surgery. My grandfather was actually good though. Well, not good. He was
pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
he was pretty good though.
Right.
And he had an eye surgery. And what happened was, after the eye surgery, like 2 or 3 days later, he pretty much ended up internally bleeding, in his brain, and so that's how he passed away.
I'm so sorry. That's crazy.
I mean, but what I was gonna say was, one of the reasons why I'm not so always big into it, because I feel like a lot of times people are good, but based upon like it's a business too. So with the pill pushing that they kind of doing, a lot of people don't understand, like, in that industry, for pushing pills and stuff like that, is money that's being made.
Yeah.
So I'm not against it. I definitely think it's definitely very important, but I do always see if there's a way that I can home remedy a situation before I run to the hospital.
Absolutely. This shout out to our grandparents, like, that created the home remedy, because I don't always want to go to the chemical source. Like, natural is always better, because you don't know what they are putting inside these pills, and you become more addictive to the perks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's prescribed. But people are hooked on finance and selling them like they Molly.
That's
Molly
true.
is another one too, but we're not gonna go.
We're not gonna go on.
You know what I mean? But the point is, like, it's offered for us to be, antidepressant, but we kind of lean more to it, and it's like it's not helping us. It's like a crutch. But there are certain types of anxiety that I want people to be aware of. The main one is social anxiety. And I think that's specifically to our generation, because a lot of people are homebodies. Like, not as much as they are now, like, as far as the younger generation. I feel like everyone's outside, kind of. But a lot of people are homebodies because they are homophobia or claustrophobia of people being close, tight places. They have fear of being judged by other or feeling overwhelmed. Like, even like when you go speak to probably mentors or mentees, do you feel kind of anxiety when you on that podium and speaking out?
Sometimes, I mean,
nervous.
As you grow into whatever your craft is, I mean, you always get the nervous. Like, when I used to play basketball, I would always, right before the tip off, get nervous. But once you get into the game, everything becomes normal. So when it comes to even speaking on different platforms, even such as this, I was a little bit nervous. But of course, once game time happens, you just
once that bell ring, game on. A lot of people, even famous people, like when I was watching the Red Table Talk, shout out to Jada, she was saying she get anxiety in front of a lot of people, and you're like, yo, you're famous, like you on everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna have anxiety, you out of all people? But people actually suffer from this, and they just kind of go into this, get it together. Let's pull it together and do what they have to do to make their means. Like, so shout out to them. But a lot of people also have panic disorders, which is also unexpected, repeated episode, intense by fear. And honestly, I wouldn't even know what to do in the panic attack. Like, how? Like, I don't know. Like, call 911. That's it. That's all I got for you. Like, I'll be trying to console, and sometimes, like, my best friend go through them, and I just felt like I'm close to her to know that she's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? For her to, like, handle her situation. But if it's a stranger going through that, I'm calling 911. I don't know. I can't help you. Okay. A lot of people got OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, which is basically categorized of impulsive action, unwanted thoughts, repetitive behaviors, and a lot of people use that to cope with anxiety, but it doesn't really help at all as well. And a lot of military people go through post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. And I know you
I've seen that. I've seen that
countless of times, right?
And that's serious.
And that's serious because it's traumatic, like, series that they see in their head, and they kind of can't get out of it because they kind of like living in it. Inside their mind, you know what I mean? So they react, and I think that's how people honestly get probably Tourette's or something like that. Like, could form to that stage, like, honestly, because it's physical harm that's happening. And just in general, people have phobias, just fear of just whatever, clowns,
right.
snakes. I'm scared of big dogs biting me in my ass. And
Right.
I have butt cheek. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my fears. Or like I said, snakes. And they would think that disasters, or believe that something of the worst is going to happen to them. And
Makes
it's
sense.
Like, yeah, and it kind of make this scenario or delusion of something happening to them, but nothing happened to them. Because it's trauma.
Right.
It's really trauma. And then we look at him like, yo, crazy. You need him in the house.
Right.
No, he might be just suffering from coming from the war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
we don't classify them as ordinary people. Now you're in the crazy house.
That's
now
true.
you're the nut. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like we need to change that mindset, mentality, because they were us. Not saying they're not us now, but they something happened.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we kind of disclose, or we don't even take a knowledge of what did happen because we don't care, because it's not personal.
It's something that we didn't go through personally, right?
Exactly.
I can attest to that. I actually seen like someone go through, the post traumatic thing, like in like real life. Like it was like real. Like in one moment everything was good, and then they just start like in one moment, like this, I guess the light hit them different or crazy or something like that, and they just went off. And for me, I never had a real respect for it because I never understood it. I never seen it personally. Like, but when I actually seen it and happen in real life, like it really made me just respect it way so much more. And just anybody that's dealing with that and is going through that, like shout out to them, because they definitely are people that are very strong and not let that stop them from also moving on with life and kind of having kids and doing everything that we normally do. But you think it's like you just never think nothing of it until you actually see it go down. Yeah,
and it's scary, like, cause. Yo, like what? How did you feel when you saw that? Like in that moment, like
in that one moment, like it really like just took me back, because it was just like the person that it happened to, like he was somebody I knew he was a cool guy,
right?
But I've never seen him go off like that. But it was like it was literally nothing he could do, and all that we started doing was just praying for him, because the situation was, it wasn't even just crazy, it was just enlightening, because if you've never seen anything like that before, if you've never seen anybody have that one snapback, and to see like it's like something comes over them, but it's not. It's just that, like you said, that one moment that happened right then and there, and then that, just being able to pray for them and being able to understand the situation. I think it just changed my life to kind of more so have a better respect for anybody that's in the army or fighting for our country and stuff like that. So definitely.
And you didn't put no judgment. That made you like be more humble to the situation. So I feel like salute to you for just being a human being. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't even just do that aspect in itself. But there are also many different types of depression. That a lot of people are suffering from right now as well. Seasonal affective disorder, which is quote unquote SAD. I didn't even know SAD had an acronym, first of all. Like, let's just put that out there. But it's directly caused from the time of the year. Depends on the weather. Mostly in the winter, because the sun is not out, which makes sense, because it's all dark and gloomy and cold, and you just sad. Like, this is not a good place to be. You know what I mean? So also psychotic depression. Anyone that develops hallucination and, like I said, delusion, that's also caused by traumatic events. Postpartum depression that a lot of mothers get from birthing a child. And I think this is very important, because it don't get taken seriously enough. I believe it's taken very lightly, because people think it's a joke. No, but people are going through depression after their baby, and I know it's supposed to be a joyous time because you just gave birth, but you don't understand the emotional, physical change that women actually go through. Like, that's a miracle that just happened, yes, but I'm actually not myself right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Can I get myself together? And it's kind of like a process that you have to mentally go through. And also, a lot of people are at atypical depression, which is very common, just directly related to mood and interaction with whatever you feel, and just energy. Energy is very big, because I'm very big on energy. Like, if I experience any kind of mood change or swings, I know off the break that something is up. You know what I'm saying? So just aware. And I think a lot of people just need to be more sensitive and considerate of people who are going through these depression, because you don't know what type of depression, and not, like I said, assume anything, because you don't know what a person is going through. Just be, like he said, helpful, pray for them. You know what I'm saying? Lend them help and hand, or whatever the case may be. Stop judging, because you could be that person going through that same thing, and then you will want some help. Like, and it's crazy. So some symptoms that we definitely need to look out for, and I think everyone kind of go through this, and it's very hard to like distinguish if you have anxiety or depression or not, because we all kind of go through just regular emotions, right? We are just regular people going through our daily lives, and if I'm just sad because something happened, doesn't mean I'm depressed,
right?
You know what I mean? So
That's
I
true.
think we have to like learn the difference of it all, but you got to know the symptoms so you can be aware, and that's why we're here today. Okay, so some symptoms of anxiety is being very like fidgetive, like you shaking all the time, you can't get no sleep. You ever like had a bad night and you couldn't go sleep?
Yeah, I don't
and
sleep
you
a lot.
up all night, so you trying to stay busy, like probably working on your project, your business. I'm up here like, oh, let me get my show together, but you not really focused because your mind is scrambled, just running rapid. You know what I'm saying? Of just whatever, and a lot of people start sweating and start like, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's true though.
Like a lot of people start sweating, and it also it's a lack of concentration, like I just mentioned. So a lot of people take Ritalin or
different medicine, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like if you, I don't take, like I said, medicine like that, but for me to concentrate, I have to be in a quiet place, like because I get distracted too easily. My like attention span is 0 to 100. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people have more discipline than I do. I admit, hands down, that's cool. But if I'm like listening to music or the TV's on, especially with TV on, don't let me try to do my homework. And I've been like that since I was a kid, so I really have to like separate myself from entertainment.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like what's your thing? Do you
like
think?
I mean, my focus is definitely important, but it's definitely so much to happen, especially with, I mean, even in business and just the way our phone's set up. Like, if you think about your phone, like, you can get a text message and, someone could send you something on Instagram and you can hit the home button twice and get off of that or whatever, on Android. I don't know how the Android work.
Hey,
but the thing is, in terms of focus and stuff like that, like, now everything is basically built on breaking our focus, if that makes sense. So focus is definitely something that, if you actually have that as a skill set today, I mean, you definitely like better than 95% of people now.
Yeah, absolutely. And discipline. Focus and discipline, because now you could be focused, but if you're not disciplined to being focused, then you're going to get off focus.
That's true.
You feel me? So I think that's very important. And behaviors, like you can get irritation very quickly. People get irritable very fast, and I think that comes with being patient as well, because no one have any patience. Like people are in a rush to do anything.
Everything.
So when something don't happen in the time of their control, they get irritated. Now they get anxiety because things not going their way because. You feel me? So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. You feel like you just in the matrix almost, and then the calmest behavior is worry, fear, feeling, and just trembling. Like I said, zombie, can't go sleep, just anything of that nature. So just be aware if you have any of the symptoms. Go to your doctors, talk to someone, go to some groups. There's definitely help. It's no shame. You gotta stop thinking this mentality is a shame of getting help. It's no shame getting any help, because we all need help. We are not perfect. Like that's why I'll be here, like to help one another build. And also be aware of some symptoms of depression, because I think that's the main cause more than anxiety. I think a lot of people are more suffering from depression than anxiety, and I think that's why it's more like higher percentage of suicide, because I feel like you really have to be at your lowest point, because the hardest thing is to kill yourself. Right. You know what I mean?
And I think people, that typically happens too when people don't feel like self-worth anymore, when they don't really understand that they still matter, in terms of like to whether it be the world or to your family and to different things like that. Like, everybody watching the show and everybody's going to listen at this show, or, if you're on live or Facebook, whatever the case may be, like, you all matter, because each of us definitely needs all of us. So if you ever even get those type of feelings, just know that you're definitely needed and you definitely matter every step of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because everyone has a purpose, and you just have to tap into yourself to know what your purpose is. Because once you know, because it'll make you feel good. You don't feel like you need the value from it, like a check from it. You just want to do it because it's your passion. It's your drive. So some symptoms of depression is your mood. Anxiety is really big on depression. That's why I say it goes hand in hand. But guilt Guilt is really big, and I think I just want to pause right there because a lot of people blame themselves.
That's true.
For a lot of things, for death, for situation that comes with their lives or relationships, or just taking just the blame. Just it has nothing to do with you. Like it was nothing in your control. It was written in the book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was bound to happen, and we kind of mind trick ourselves that it is our fault, and we did have something to do with it, and it kind of give us hopelessness.
Right, and hopelessness is definitely it's a tough situation because anytime you feel like there's nothing you can do about a situation, then that's another thing that can cause anxiety, or another thing that can definitely drive to depression. Because if you ever been in a situation where you definitely feel hopeless, and it just makes you feel like as a human you have no worth in that moment, in that situation, depending on how serious it is, it could definitely drive to different, levels of stress and different levels of anxiety and worry and things like that. So that's important.
Definitely, and you lose interest, like I said, in your daily activity. You have mood swing, you have sadness, your sleep is everywhere. You early awakenings or excessive sleepless, like you don't want to stop sleeping, like you want to sleep all day. And I just think that's part of laziness too, like you just being lazy, like get your ass up. But some people just don't have that energy, they don't have that spirit, that motivation, you know what I mean, to that drive, exactly, to pick them right back up. Agitation, being excessive, crying, irritable, any cognitive, like lack of communication, slowness in activities, thoughts of suicides, and common poor appetites, repeatedly going over thoughts or excessively just thinking of death, you know what I'm saying? So these are some red flags and some symptoms that we should definitely be aware of, because a lot of people don't take that step to even notice within themselves, like do a self checkup. Like I think we don't even do a self test. You know what I'm saying? Remember you do a self-care test? We don't even do that no more because we don't even care enough to figure out what's going on within ourselves. We so worried about what other people is thinking about us or what other people perceive as us and judging of us, and they not gonna live for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the importance that I want everyone to get. Like, no one can live for you, boo.
Right.
Like, you have to make sure you good at the end of the day. So what's the big difference between anxiety and depression? What do you think is the big difference? Because they kind of, like I said, hand in hand, but they are two distinctive, different disorder.
The biggest difference is just and more so how a person perceives whatever the situation is, because it can be a situation where you're anxious and things like that, but more so depression is, I feel like it's more so of a state of being, a state of how you're carrying out your everyday functions. I feel like anxiety is just right now, where like you said, a stress or things like that, but I feel like depression is just more so like a state of being, and being in that state of depression is definitely something that it takes a lot of work to not only get out, but to more so fix it, figure out the issues, try to get help. And a lot of times I think when you get into that situation, man, getting help is definitely big, because it's so key to deal with certain people that love on you, you know what I'm saying, and that understand what you're really going through, and not that's just want to be nosy and just know what your situation is so they can use that against you, a couple years down the line as well. So it's so much that you got to watch out for when it comes to those type of situations.
Yeah, that's so deep, because like you said, they both can suffer from one person. Like a person could be suffering from anxiety and depression, or one person can only suffer from depression or only suffer from anxiety. And you never know what the case may be. So we just need to be open and just helpful and just in general. But 80% of people who has been diagnosed with depression has also been diagnosed with some sort of anxiety disorder.
Right.
So that's just a fun fact for you to take home with you. And people are prescribed antidepressants or this medication called selective serotonin uptake inhibitors, because it's actually SSRI acronym. But basically these are antidepressant medicine that are given to patients or people who are suffering from anxiety and depression, because it's proven to be helpful with these disorder. And like I said, if medicine and pills is your thing, by all means, do that. If you're going to do home remedy, do that. But also, go to therapy.
Yeah, therapy is cool.
Therapy is cool, right? I think a lot of it's a stigma with therapy, right?
Yeah, man. Having somebody that you can talk to that's outside of a situation is always good, I think, because they can always lend advice or just lend an outside opinion, outside perspective. I think outside perspectives on a lot of situations can help anybody, because a lot of times when you talk to people that's in a situation, it's always emotional. You know what I'm saying? When you can deal with somebody that's outside of that and who can see above that because they're just not emotionally attached to it, then you can definitely get knowledge that is well beyond years. So I think that therapy is definitely big.
Absolutely, psychologists, sociologists, any just form of friend group sessions. When you go into homes, like addict homes or home remedies to like cure yourself. Just anyone that's going to be a positive beneficial to your recovery. Right. It's people that you want to be around, because a lot of people could feed off how you feeling and keep you down in the dumps and keep you on your depression wheel, and then be deaf number 2. You know what I'm saying? So right. I think we all should just reach out and encourage one another to see a therapist, or like I say, a psychiatrist, whatever they have you, because it's a big stigma that Black people shouldn't talk to a therapist, and right. We have to like get out of that mentality, because we need help, and someone can actually guide us to the right direction and save us from ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So anyone who's suffering from anxiety or depression, there are definitely multiple medications. There's multiple clinics. There's multiple group homes and sessions, or even just awareness month, like in itself. Just take some time and do some research and like get out of your funk and try to like save yourself, because only you can save yourself, baby. Like that's the main thing that I want everyone to get out of this like topic in itself, and know if you're suffering from one or the other or both. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely know some people, like personally, that's suffering from anxiety. Not too many people from depression, but either way, anxiety can lead to depression, or depression could lead to anxiety, or like I said, you can have both. So don't want to get too far.
And plus with getting help, if you ever like reached out and tried to get help and it didn't work for you, whether you reached out to somebody and that person didn't necessarily fit your situation, a lot of times, I know I used to work at a group home, and I noticed that some of the African American young kids, they were dealing with psychiatrists who were European, and what was happening was there was a breakdown in the communication and just the understanding, because of the backgrounds of Europeans typically on average is not the same background of one of African American, right? So they didn't even believe in a psychiatrist anymore because of the simple fact that there was a breakdown in communication and understanding. But it also made them not even believe in the fact that getting help was even available, if that makes any sense. So just being in different situations, like if you ever reached out to try to get help and that person wasn't the right person for you, it doesn't mean that help isn't available. Exactly. It just means you have to go elsewhere in other avenues and stuff like that to seek, someone who can actually help your situation and figure out how to help you and where you are and get where you're trying to go.
Yeah, definitely. That's powerful, man. So shout out to you. And matter of fact, speaking of you, let's get into who up next, because you are up next, Mr. Tyrell Brown, SPS entrepreneur. Shout out to you for coming on into house. Anyone out there, I do Who Up Next each and every week, Thursday, 6 p.m. live. If you're entrepreneurs, artists, whatever, holding it down, I'll bring you out. We're doing a personal interview. And I want to begin with your business, right? Okay. The birth of struggle before success. That's what it means, right? Of course, I love that name, first of all. Right. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you began it in Morgan, when you went to Morgan, because you kind of did a dropout on the Kanye West tips, and you began your business immediately. So what happened at Morgan? Did somebody piss you off? Like,
no,
you know what?
Whoa, not
right
listen.
Now.
I love Morgan, so
I love Morgan too. Yeah,
I'm definitely a Morgan State Bear, but definitely at the time, the organizational piece of Morgan was. And this is back in our time, right? So not like now, Morgan now is like A1. It's a whole listen. It's
time to apply.
It's Morgan Freeman compared to we went to Morgan State. This is Morgan Freeman now, but what I was gonna say was the organizational piece, man. Just with the financial aid and all the stuff that we was going through, was tough. It was tough. It was just a tough situation. So I never forget. Went to college and I took accounting. So that's what I hated. To be honest with you, I took accounting and I got into the field, or started taking some accounting classes, and I realized quick that I'd never seen myself sitting behind a desk, counting someone else's money and making sure someone else's books was right.
Right.
And so. That right there in itself just definitely steered me, or made me realize that that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And so from there, I guess you can say that being pissed off. And then my background, I grew up in Baltimore, for those who don't know. And my mom was a nursing assistant, so 15-hour shifts, 4 or 5 days a week. We lived in a row house in Baltimore. My dad was a sanitation worker for the city of Baltimore. So I watched my family, live paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not saying that we were poor. It wasn't like that at all. But, mom made mom made a lot of sacrifices. Pops, shout out to Pops, he made a lot of sacrifices as well just to try to make ends meet. And, from after watching them struggle, I realized that I felt like entrepreneurship was a way to basically to heal the pain.
Yeah.
In so many words. So that's really what made me, start business in college, because I realized that my family worked, 30, 40 years, and I watched them, it was certain things that I wanted to do growing up that I couldn't do based upon finances.
Exactly.
And so, and then, like I said, having a daughter put that in the overdrive, but definitely just coming from a situation of watching my family, more so, not have the money that they needed to make the lifestyle that they really want.
Exactly.
And okay, how can I do that? Because I know your parents say, hey, we want you to do better than we did.
Yeah, definitely.
And so how do we do that if we literally go and do the exact same thing that our parents did?
Yeah, and so that's how you kind of got the name Struggle Before Success.
That's definitely where I got it from.
So shout out to your parents, and shout out to anyone out there doing their grind, hustle, okay? Because it's real. We are not trying to survive no more, though. We trying never be broke again, all right? So we definitely trying to level up. So what tools do you provide people to help them live a better lifestyle? What do you do?
Well, even with just my necessary life, I think that in general it's always about how you live your life in terms of leadership, right? So I mean, for me personally, number one, I always, every single day, I definitely work hard every single day, because I believe that it's not about asking other people to do things that you're not willing to do yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But with the brand and with the movement, I mean, we're definitely all about entrepreneurial development. So helping people just develop the entrepreneur within them, because I think that I think a lot of people say that certain things aren't for people. People always ask me when I say I'm a dropout, was school not for you? And I always tell people no, it would have been for me if I would have done what I was supposed to do in terms of going to class, doing the homework, and taking the test, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So it's not necessarily that something wasn't for me. Right. It more so was that I just didn't allow it to work for me because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Right. So with being an entrepreneur, it's just more so about doing what you can do, every single day, whether it be networking, whether it be setting up appointments, just doing the things that you have to do that is going to help you, move forward. So I think that even in me as I live my life, that's what I try to do every single day. But more importantly, just developing an entrepreneur within everybody. The fact that whatever business that you have, whatever dream you have, whether it be nonprofit, whether it be whatever business, I mean, you all know, even if you don't know exactly what steps need to be taken, there are some steps. And if you're not even doing those steps, then I know that one of the biggest statements that I think really changed my life is that most people never get to step number 2 because they never take step number 1. So
that's deep.
And being able to take step number 1, you can definitely get further on. So just more so developing that, and then I like to more so help people develop leadership skill sets as well. So developing the leader within them as well. And so the characteristics that go along with that, whether it be confidence, being on time, doing things in an orderly manner, things like that. So just those are the things, the skill sets that I like to more so lead by example in my life. Whether it be reading different books, I'm always listening to wealth. I'm always studying wealth, always on YouTube listening to wealthy people. So I'm a big believer in just studying wealth, because that's more so where I want to be and that's where I want to go. And if you're not studying the things that you want to do or what you want to be, then what are you doing?
You living the same lifestyle, recycling, routine, daily style. That's crazy. But did you self-taught yourself to be an entrepreneur? Kind of do your own research on how to be your own?
Well, no. So just being honest, I started off, one of the biggest things I tell anybody is they have to have a mentor, So
absolutely.
I started off, when it came to business, I actually, I ran into a mentor who was actually already a millionaire in real estate. So he was already successful.
Okay.
And more so, one of the things that he did, he was just like, man, if you're willing to, change your life and do the things you say you want to do, then I'll pretty much hold your hand every step of the way.
Yeah.
So I started listening.
We need more people like that, honestly.
Definitely.
honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And people just gotta reach out, man. People out there, you know, it's just people don't reach out. Like, same thing with getting help. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way people don't want to get help, it's definitely mentors out there. Like even, you know, someone like you, right? Like say if somebody wants to be on a platform and wants to be a radio host, but people can watch the show every single day, hop on your live and hop off, and they'll never reach out. DMs. Right. And not even be in your DMs. Right? So it just, I'll see it happen every single day. So, but more so, just, man, I got a mentor, and then, you know, basically the books that I started reading, the things I started listening to, is all things that he kind of pointed me in the direction of. And that's what really kind of happened for me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so powerful because we need that mentorship, that guidance to get us into the right road for everyone. So how did you build your own e-commerce franchise? I want to talk about that.
So what happened was a lot of people don't really understand that, you know, in business, right, in general, you have things that are already set up for you. So I'll use you for an example, right? Like say this is a platform that's already set up.
Yep.
So you take your skills, your talents, and things like that, and you use the platform to more so promote your brand and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Exactly. So what I did was I actually attached myself to a franchise that was already having success. You know what I'm saying? It was already having success. It was already an e-commerce platform. Everything was already built for me. I just had basically took my hustle, my ambition, and the fact that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I just literally attached that to the franchise that was already, you know, having success. So a lot of times I think people always, you know, I run into so many entrepreneurs that want to do their own thing, and I don't knock that at all.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that, you know, if you don't have the money and the resources to literally do your own thing, it's not that you shouldn't do your own thing, but how can you piggyback on a situation that's already happening right now, so that when you get the resources and network and the connections and the income and the capital, you know what I'm saying, how once you get to that point, then you can always branch out and do your own thing. But most people never just want to, like I said, they don't never want to take step number one. So
you gotta network though, especially if someone's already in the position, like you said, empowered to do what you're already trying to do. Just like getting the layup, honestly. So is that partnership the big Fortune 500? Yep. So that partnership is still going strong. You're still with them, right?
I've been doing it 5 years.
5 years. Dedication, people. Okay, commitment. And I think that's a lot of things people kind of struggle with as well. Just commitment alone, because a lot of people don't like doing the same thing for a long time.
That's true.
But if it's like you said, your passion and your drive, and it's going to get you to where your wealth, then why not? You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing else anyway.
No, that's true. But the biggest thing is just why you're always doing something. You know, if you think about a job, right? Like everybody goes to work because, like, if they have kids or they got bills or they got lifestyle, right? The reason they go to work every single day is because they have something that they're trying to support.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, if nobody had bills or lifestyle, would anybody really even go to work?
That's true.
Probably not, right?
That's true.
It's always a reason why you're doing something. I think that, you know, if you have a passion for it, that's one. But if you have a child, if, you know, you come from struggle, or, you know, you want to make something of yourself, like whatever that why is, that should be the reason why you always keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because like even with, and whether you look at success or anything, like even at work, like when I used to have jobs, man, like every day was not the best day. You know what I'm saying? Like it was days that I hated it, but I would wake up and I would go back to work tomorrow, and you know what I'm saying, I would do another day.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think with with entrepreneurs or just people that want to do certain things, man, if it doesn't look the way they said it was supposed to, or if it doesn't feel the way it's supposed to feel, like, or if they get upset one day, like they feel like they not supposed to go and do it another, like do it again. And like, that's the only thing, like for the last 5 years, I just woke up every single day and I just did it again.
Yeah. Hey. Persistent, yo, is key. Persistent is key. So your franchise purpose, right? And you trying to basically deregulate the public utilities. What is your plans, like, to accomplish that goal? What are you trying to do?
You know, with the deregulation in terms of, you know, utilities and stuff like that, you have certain things that are already set up, whether it be like gas, electricity, whether it be cell phones, cable, things like that. And so there's always ways that you can tap into things. Like I said, the industries that's already growing and that's already moving, right? Think about like Ring. I don't know if anybody's like really been paying attention to like all the different doorbells and stuff like that that's been coming out lately, right? But now so many different doorbells have been popping up that you can now look and see your front door and so many different things like that. So just more so paying attention to what's happening right now is always the key, because what's happening right now is that, you know, there's always so many different ways you can tap into stuff. Like, you know, I was talking at a meeting the other day, and a girl said she had Xfinity phone service.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
like the phone,
the phone, and that's big. And most people don't understand that. Like, why would Xfinity get into the phone business if it wasn't money, it'd still be made.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So there's already deregulation.
Everybody got
happening.
the internet, so
right.
why not?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's so much stuff that's already happening. But you know, even with my platform, like I said, I just attached myself to a franchise that was already moving, and they were already in the deregulation of those industries. And for me personally, I just felt that those are industries that were going to continue to grow.
Yeah,
and it wasn't going to stop. And then
I
was able to kind of use some of the income that I made from that, and also jump into the real estate thing as well. So it's always about being able to do multiple different things, but at the same time keeping the main thing, and then branching off from that, and then using the income that you make from that to kind of get into whatever dreams and goals.
Residual income, people. That's what it's called. Okay, yeah. Making the money work for you and you not work for it. That's just right. Very powerful. A lot of people need to get on that way, right. And like seriously, I'm trying to get on that way too. Okay. So like add me in. So speaking of real estate, like how did you speak on it a little bit from your franchise, but how did you become like the investor and get the title of regional director of ACN? So congrats on that. Just in general, let's talk about that.
So real estate was same thing. I was a mentor.
Okay.
So
shout out to these mentors, y'all. Shout out to all your mentors.
No,
seriously.
No, specs. I had a mentor named Kyle Fair. And I never take anything away from him, but he was a big mentor of mine when it came to real estate. And what happened was same thing. So I was building ACN. For those of you who don't know, that's the franchise he's talking about. But I was building ACN, and I actually one day went to an event. I had a friend of mine who had got involved with the business with me, and what happened was he was going to PG Community College. Mm-hmm. So when I went to the school one day at the PG Community College, shout out to Brian Heat, who's a motivational speaker. For those of you who don't know, he's definitely fire. Go listen to him, Brian Heat. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Hey. He actually teaches a class at PG Community College. It's called the Diverse Male Student Initiative, DMSI for short. Okay. But he teaches students how to be entrepreneurs and stuff like that, and how to be CEOs. He actually recommended a book. I think it's a great book called Jesus CEO, and it talks about how Jesus actually lived his life as in person, but more so how he recruited the disciples and how he actually ran it as a business. You know what I'm saying? So
that's deep.
When I went to the class, what happened was I actually met a mentor, like I said, who was big in real estate and was like, hey, bro, I like the way that you dress, I like the way that you keep your pants up off your tail. I like the fact that, you have a mind of forward thinking, things like that. And so basically everything that I was already doing in my life that built me up to a point of who I was at that point in time, it got me to the point where I met somebody that was able to help me go to the next level.
Exactly. And that's all about going to the next level. So break down what ACN is for everyone who don't know what it is. Just briefly. I know.
Well, it's just a franchise. So it's just like any other company. If you think about a Panera Bread or Starbucks, things like that, it's a franchise. And so you can pretty much, buy the franchise yourself. It's just all online. It's e-commerce. It's 26 different countries, all 50 states. And then they just have partnerships with companies like Verizon and Sprint, AT&T, DirecTV, Dish Network, BG&E. For people from PG, Pepco, and Washington Gas. Hey. Shout out to that.
Shout out to Pepco.
And for that, that's how I started. I started hustling. Yeah. I was hustling with that. And then like I said, I've been doing that for 5 years. And then I ran into my mentor for real estate, who, like I said, what I did with ACN just went hand in hand with real estate. Yeah. And so it was just, like I said, a lot of times networking, if anything, I can definitely leave here is you got to be in different avenues to network, because a lot of times I know people that have ideas, right, but they go to work and then they go home, or they go to work and then they go hang with their homeboys and they friends and family around the way. And I'm not knocking that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. But if you could get rich with your friends and family from around the way, then you would already be rich. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to change your circle to get the different places that you want in your life. And a lot of people just want to hang around the same people in the same crowd, the same mix. They're comfortable. And that's not going to get you where you want to go. So you definitely got to network, man. If you can get rich with your friends and family, man, you definitely already be rich. So you got to either change who you are or change what you want to get exactly where you want to go in life.
Yeah, and write down your goals and dreams too, and just make dates and set goals seriously. Right. But you go around mentoring, speaking to a lot of college people and mentees. So like you said, any advice is whoever wants to kind of start their business or become an entrepreneur in life, you had a little mentee and you're the mentor, what would you advise them besides, of course you mentioned networking, but what would you tell them to start? How would you
see? The biggest thing is if you really want to do something, being able to don't get lost in the research, but you definitely do have to research. And what I mean by like don't get lost in the research, because I know a lot of people that want to get in real estate, right? And they watch so many endless videos and they read so many endless books, but they never pick up the phone and call a wholesaler or call somebody who has a house for sale and actually get into the game, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, yeah, do research on whatever you want to do, but you got to get into the game. You know what I'm saying? You got to play to win. You got to get into the game. And so within getting into the game, you'll learn how to talk to people. You'll learn how to fail. You'll learn how to do different things. But I know so many people that get lost into the research and they know so much. Like if you ask them about the topic or you ask them about whatever it is, they got all this different knowledge. But if they ever completed a mission or got into the game, they never did it. So you gotta, research is important. Don't get me wrong. But taking that, like I said, taking step number one and getting into the game. Because I know a lot of people that sit on the sidelines and sit on the stands, man, they wait for things to happen to them as if God is going to bring it out, drop it out the sky. And it's not
my God. Yo, say that. No, seriously. Say that. And I definitely was guilty of being one of those people. Like, you definitely got to do more walking than talking. Like, you have to be a boss and make moves, like I said. Because we don't just have no 11 wishes and have all these miracles happening to us. And it's like, yo, you gotta work for everything you got. Like everyone who's famous and out here got their own business, they work. Like Amazon came from a garage, Apple too. Like all the big businesses started within their own selves, and I'm pretty sure they networked there or bought some stocks. And that's another thing, buy some stocks, man. A lot of people are against buying stocks, and it's like, why? Like you investing into utilities, that's gas, electric, and water, whatever the case may be. We're gonna forever need that, no matter how technology or changes. You know what I'm saying? This world's gonna advance to. We're gonna always need lights. You know what I mean? So I just feel like invest and just be smart. What's your decision? Have some type of purpose and income from your family, for your future family as well. You want to be able to afford your grandkids, like for nothing. You feel me? So I feel like it's a bigger picture, and we have to start planning and stop just living for our daily lives and kind of worry about the future later. I think that's what we kind of fall into. Like,
and I got a lot of friends from like around the way, like, you know what I mean, like just growing up, like, and that's what they do. Like they live for right now, and they just don't understand that, if you always live for right now, then for real, like it's crazy, right? But if you literally always live for right now, then you're always gonna be living for right now.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And like most people just never take the time to like really live for later on. And so when it's like when you never do that and you always write about right now, then your life will just always be surrounded by right now. And so
you'll be in the same
situation,
place. And I'm so a witness. Like, cause I really feel like this year it was really like changed, and I really made myself do something different or have a challenge for myself each and every month to achieve a certain goal of mine, because I have to get out my own way. And sometimes we be in our own way. People, like, if you know what you want to do, so do it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely
and that's a big thing, man. That's a big thing, like just doing what you gotta do. Because I know, like, even for me, like when I got into the real estate thing, like, I had to go get LLCs. I had to, set up, bank accounts and stuff like that. And I never forget, my mentor was just telling me, like, yo, you gotta, you gotta go set up the LLC, then you gotta go to the bank and set up the savings account, like, and I literally had to do all that in one day. You know what I'm saying? But most people was like, once people, and that's another thing, like, if you do ask for a mentor and they give you direction, like, don't pussyfoot around. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, people, like, ask for direction, and then, like, somebody give them direction, and they really will pussyfoot around. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it's like, yo, you, like, that's the worst way to start off with a mentor. Like, I never forget when I first got, my real estate mentor, like, I'm telling you, like, everything that Joe asked me to do, like, you know what I'm saying, I literally would do it, like, within 24 to 48 hours. Because at the end of the day, like, if I want somebody to respect me and work with me and take me to this next level that I want to go, that I say I want to do, then everything that he asked me to do, I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because
work ethic.
And especially if they make money with you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We win it together.
Yeah, I think so many times people just don't understand, like, yo, having that mentor is definitely a blessing. And if you take it for granted, then you don't really understand how much value someone is adding to your life. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about your time management skills real quick, because I think a lot of people struggle with that as well. Because not only are you in real estate, you mentioned your business like SPS. You're doing a lot to do with ACN. So talk about just you in general being able.
I'm gonna be honest on set. Like, and my team will tell you, like, my partners will tell you, like, I am working on time management right now. I'm overcoming that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But just being honest, like I'm one to overpack myself. I'm one to overbook myself because, and I go like, you know, I have a real big thing about working hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't really understand that, like, you know what I mean, when you say that you want certain things, like the work ethic that goes into that is not like a regular work ethic, especially with entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
like, especially being your own
exactly.
boss. But with the time management piece, like even me this year, like I had to really start more so using my calendar more because like I would just be like, yeah, bro, I'll be there, or oh, you need me to have this phone call, do this, boo, boo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? But I would not put in my calendar.
Exactly.
And then like
forget
2 people call me at the same time, like, bro, you, oh man, and it's like I dropped the ball, right? And so, but I learned from that, and so even now, like I try to use my calendar more. I'm still not the best, like my team will tell you, like that's something I'm dealing with. But one thing, like I said, I watch words, so that's why I said I'm overcoming how to deal with time management. So I've been definitely using my calendar more. I've been more, you know, prompt to when it comes to appointments and just trying to make sure I get things done. But one thing I will say as an entrepreneur, like you really can't do everything by yourself, man.
And you know what? And that's powerful. And I think a lot of people have this self-made, you know, mentality because they want to feel like, yeah, I really built this from the ground up. And that's beautiful as well. I'm not taking nothing from you, boo-boo. But at the same time, you need a village.
Yeah.
The same way you raise a child, you need a village because it's not impossible, but it's damn near. Like, you know what I'm saying? To really be able to remember and control and really have structure and organization so it won't come out chaotic and honestly messy and just unprofessional. So like it's not a good look. You want to make sure whatever you have your name on actually it's a nice turnout. Like even with me doing events, I want to make sure it's a successful event. You know what I mean? So we just have to have some type of control and structure, you know, and I think that's very important. You need people. You need people to help you do that. So shout out to you for coming on in the house. So once again, please give anybody information where they can find you. Maybe you can come to your seminar.
My Instagram, man.
Instagram.
SBS, you know, _global. That's my Instagram. My Facebook is just Tyrell. My middle initial is L, and my last name is Brown. And I actually just, you know, while I'm here, I just want to say thank you because I know that we met, you know, multiple years ago.
Shout out to you, 3 years ago.
And that was definitely a big thing to, you know, I actually reached out, you know what I'm saying, to her to come on the set because I felt like, you know, through the platform that she was actually making a difference and making an impact. And I think a lot of times people don't really understand that, you know, we got to support each other, you know, not only because we're from Morgan, but because we're black, you know, being able to, you know, support each other. And it really was more about me being able to be on a platform because I felt like she was making a difference. And I feel like wherever, that's another thing. The last thing I will leave is just for all entrepreneurs, jobs, anybody, like the biggest thing is that you have to learn is how to be able to make a difference. You know what I'm saying? So any way that you can drop your presence, you know what I'm saying, to make a difference in someone else's life, I think that's what life is literally all about. Like, it's not always about the money that you make or anything like that. It's more about like how you can make someone else's life, you know, better because you were here today. So I actually just want to give a shout out to her. And I actually have a question. I'm not supposed to ask a question.
No, please, like.
But you know, if a person wants to become a radio host, if a person wants to do what you're doing, like, what would you tell a person that they have to do, and how would you actually say that they can reach out to you and actually you can be willing to mentor them and show them how to do that?
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy because I didn't want to be a radio host. Like when I grew up and had my little dreams, I wanted to be a teacher and some more stuff. Then I got into theater. So then my goal was to be like an actress. And so when I got into college in Morgan, shout out to Morgan again, that's when I kind of had my epiphany. And I started off doing theater, like I said, when I loved, but I didn't kind of got that joy that I had growing up doing theater on the stage. So I went into communication because a lot of people was like, yo, try out communication, you'll do it. And I'm thinking I'm going to TV, but ironically, I chose radio without even realizing. That's how, like, not in tune I was. But I loved it. And, like, I can be myself. I can have my own control. And I can have a purpose and make an impact, like you said. So, a lot of people that's doing it right now and doing podcasts, you can do YouTube. You can research. You can even just go into a studio or learn audition. Just software in general because it's self-taught. You don't necessarily have to go to school. But I did go to school, and I'm grateful that I went to school because I learned the background and the history of radio and make me appreciate radio a little bit more. And honestly, I grew up off of LaDon Black. Like, shout out to LaDon Black. Like, she was my inspiration.
Facts.
Like,
on a late night, you know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that her incitement was beautiful in itself. Like, she encouraged me to be another black woman to be on radio. And I just like want to encourage anyone, whoever your inspiration is, make a purpose, make something that's going to be impactful, make some inspiration. Like, just do it for the love, man. Do it for the passion. Just start, write, research. Don't half-ass anything. Like, I do research each and every week about a different social issue. I chose social issue because it's important to us to learn from our behaviors and be aware so we can change and like motivate each other to be better people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we in the house, man. So shout out to you, Terrell. Okay. Thank you again. Shout out to everyone to coming on the Radio on Fire in the house live with your girl, Lady Merp. Please follow my man SPS_global. Follow me on Lady Merp 92. Shout out to Radio on Fire.
Yeah, shout out to Radio on Fire. He doing some big things here too.
Shout out to Diamond.
So shout out to him, man. You know, thanks for having me.
In the building, you feel me?
I definitely want to come back.
You feel me? You definitely always welcome to come back. Shout out to every mother out there. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, birthday. Mom. Love y'all. Peace out. We out. Hey, we gotta take a picture. I hope I saved my shit, cause.
Now more than ever, it's important where and who you get your news from. Radio on Fire brings information and entertainment to urban America. Whether it's news, sports, entertainment, or relationships, Radio on Fire has the urban experience covered from all angles. Visit radioonfire.com, download the Radio on Fire app, and follow us on social media